It's championship day from Whitestown, Indiana. The softball teams from Austintown, Ohio, and Johnston, Iowa have been playing all week long for a chance to make it to the Little League World Series. Now they're one win away from making their dreams come true, and a summer they will remember forever.
They got representing their hometowns. That kind of electric atmosphere is what we have to look forward to.
They will remember this forever.
Now it's time to put it all on the line. One win away from the opportunity of a lifetime. A trip to the Little League Softball World Series for a summer they will remember forever.
Midway Little League, your World Series champions!
Welcome to the Little League Softball Regionals on ESPN, presented by Dick's Sporting Goods. It's a rematch from a dandy of a game a few days ago as Ohio and Iowa play with everything on the line with a chance to get to Greenville, North Carolina. All total, 9 teams participated in this tournament, all the way from Omaha, Nebraska, and as close as Zionsville Little League, just 5 miles away. And with the 9 teams in mind, 7 have been eliminated, just 2 standing right now between Iowa and Ohio. Back to Sunday, as aforementioned, scoreless because it was a pitcher's duel all the way. Hamley versus Haxton. But eventually, Iowa was going to break through. And it came in the 8th and 9th innings, putting together 8 runs and sending 18 girls to the plate. Iowa with the win, undefeated still. And after that, Ohio fighting its way back. Jim Barber, Kenzie Fowler, who started for Arizona many years back. Well, a lot of people want to know, in Little League Softball, would you call this a revenge game?
Absolutely. This was the opening round matchup, and here we are again. 2 teams, completely different paths. You look at the winner's bracket, they're undefeated like you talked about, Iowa. They won that game against Ohio, and they have had it pretty easy. This is only their 4th game. So on the flip side, you look at Ohio, they have had to do it the hard way. 5 games in elimination. No matter the path, this is what it all comes down to. Who is punching their ticket to the World Series?
And we should mention Hannah Banana celebrating her 13th birthday today. That's Hannah Haxton, so let's show us a picture about her a little earlier.
Hannah Haxton. Very much vibes of Rachel Garcia, Val Cagle, Shohei Ohtani, whatever your reference. This is the two-way star for Iowa. She bats in the middle of the lineup, and she is their ace in the circle. So if I'm Ohio, this is the player I'm not going to let beat me when it comes down to the clutch moments, because she has been that clutch player this entire week for Iowa.
Iowa's mentioned a perfect 3-0 to this point, having scored 28 runs and yielding just 12, even though its game against Missouri gave up 8 in a 4-run win by a score of 12-8. That's a look at Iowa. Now about Ohio, and Iowa's not the only team with some big offense.
And this is what momentum can do. We talk about how they've had to do it the hard way, come through the loser's bracket. So they've had to play. This is their 7th game this week, and sometimes that helps build that offense, build those rallies. And they have come alive in elimination game, have not backed down one bit. It's kind of like they've taken the challenge on and risen to the occasion every single time. And you look at Mila Hamley in the circle, she's going to get the ball. She has been the clutch factor in the circle every single time that there's been runners on. She comes up with the big K, and I expect her to throw with that high velocity we've seen her throw with all week.
Capping 5 wins in a row for Ohio. You got her to smile today when you took a team picture. I was very impressed.
Poker face all week. There it is. There's a little smile. I love it.
When we come back, first pitch, it's a hot, sticky day. Temperatures in the low 90s, but that does not stop the enthusiasm here in Whitestown, Indiana, because this game is as big as it gets. The Little League Softball Regionals on ESPN are presented by Dick's Sporting Goods. Every season starts at Dick's. When you're not playing, that means you get to enjoy the surrounding area. Indianapolis. Maybe get to a Barbie movie. What do you think?
Love it. Look at those
Beautiful
dresses.
look, huh?
Lots of.
Play a little golf at Top Golf, which is near Fishers, Indiana. 9 teams in this tournament, as aforementioned. 6-inning game, unless we go beyond 6. Principally ages 10 to 12. Between bases, 60 feet. From the circle to the plate, 40 feet. All rostered players bat in continuous order. That's different from Little League, softball, and baseball in the past. It means everybody that comes to the park hits. And hitting for Ohio, their top hitters, Seneca Coates, followed by Kate Averill, Annabella Mikesell, and Bella Baumgart. Then a great defender and Tori Greathouse, Mila Hamley, Ava Fisher, Zara Burt, Amani Beardsley, and then Gracia Fondy. Bella Mattern, Gianna Hoops, and Lexi Petrillo round out Ohio's 13 batters. It is great to have you along. Just after 3 Eastern time, and we are off.
Ball down.
Hannah Haxton, 13th birthday today. She has a twin sister celebrating a 13th as well, Hayden. To right field and dropping, base hit. Good start for Seneca Coates, who has 9 hits in this regional so far, Kenzie, and has been an impossible out.
She's the best hitter on this team for Ohio, and bats in the leadoff spot, just so consistent. She has the ability to slap as well. I love there's a little dab there to get her team going. It's just what she's been able to do this entire week.
And with that little dab to do you, she's on first base with nobody out for Kate Averill, the shortstop.
Oh, just like.
And as Kenzie mentioned, Ohio's come a long way since Sunday, having to play twice a couple of days ago in double and elimination fashion in order to make it to the championship game. Kate's 13 years of age, wears 99, waves at that one for a strike.
Inside? Yep.
Sean Niddle as our home plate umpire, Michael Miller at first, Oscar Rios at second, and Mark Sauer at third. By the way, and his dad is here today. That's Jared, who coached the team a couple years ago in the regionals. And Mom Jen, Sister Kendall, and Sister Hayden are enjoying themselves in Hilton Head. And I'm sure viewing the broadcast.
Absolutely. Especially Hannah's birthday, and chatted with her before the game. I was kind of joking with her, is this your golden birthday? Because she wears number 13. She's turning number 13. So kind of your golden softball birthday if you kind of want to rework it. But a big day for her. She is excited.
What is it with pitchers? Because she wears 13. Mila Hamley wears 13. And you wore 13, right?
I did. That was my number growing up. And so I just loved writing down in the scorebook, oh, both of our pitchers are number 13. I wore number 19 in college, but all growing up in all my sports across the board, I just had to have number 13, and I don't know what that is about pitchers.
2-2 pitch, headed left field, base hit. Great start for Ohio, which has not cooled off since that loss to Iowa back on Sunday. As Coates and Kate Averill, great Hannah Haxton with back-to-back hits to start the game.
You know, you and I were chatting about the 2 teams coming in and how you have one team with Iowa very well rested, has been through the winner's bracket, and then you have Ohio, who's had to play almost twice as many games, and sometimes I feel like that's an advantage just because you have the ability offensively to get on a roll and feel good about yourselves. Hitting is so contagious. And very early in this game, you can just see very quickly both Seneca Coates and Kate Averill just right on time, ready to go, picking up where they left off yesterday.
Ohio's offense didn't come into play until the 8th and 9th innings against Iowa on Sunday, so this is a much better start today than a few days previous. Mikesell toward right field. Dropped. Everybody's going to advance. The bases are loaded. They're sending a runner home, and she'll score. And everybody moving up and making that as well. Seneca Coates scores. Kate Averill to third. Annabelle Mikesell to second. First error of the game. And Ohio strikes first.
Unfortunately here for Iowa, this ball has to be caught. Just a little bit off of the glove, overrunning it. And then, to me, the heads-up base running for Ohio. Seneca Coates, she was on her horse the entire way, never stopped rounding third. A continuous call from her third base coach there to score. Scores easily, and another runner 60 feet away with no outs here in the first.
Right fielder is Brecken Moss. You have to wonder, with the full sun in play now, did that bother her? Come back into the pitcher. They've got the runner held up. Between third and home, that's the way to play it, to chase him back. And almost got the other runner in problems here. And I think that Matt Hamley was questioning, was there interference? And apparently there is not, so.
It's not a bad go here for Ohio, base running wise, trying to be aggressive, because if you do make an out, you want to put the pressure on the defense, and base running wise, they end up in the same situation. Runners at second and third, forcing Iowa to make a play, getting an out.
Brings up Torrey Greathouse. So Bella Baumgart is at second, and Mike Sell at third. Kate Averill cut down between third and home. Fifth batter already to go to the plate in the inning. There's the superstition for Torrey. Must help her defense, because she is splendid with a glove. Nothing seems to get past to her at first base.
Got moved up in the lineup today. We've been talking about her play defensively all week. Seen a couple of Sports Center worthy plays and snags over at first, but rewarded here on the championship game, getting bumped up to the 5-hole.
RBI situation here. She goes around. 2 balls and a strike. Let's let the coaching staff on the bases. Matt Hamley's the manager at third base. Over at first base is Brian Mattern. Jeff Mikesell had to work, so Darren Hamley takes over in the dugout and gives pitches to her daughter when Mila is throwing in the bottom of the first. And into left field and dropping. That'll score another run. Opposite field hit for Torrey Greathouse. 2-0 in favor of Ohio. Oh, you're right. They have come out swinging and running the bases very ferociously.
Just very aggressive early in the count. A little bit of a flare here to the left side, but right between the shortstop, Hemisath, and Clark out and left, falls down. Another run scores for Ohio.
Third hit in the inning, combined with 2 runs and a couple of errors. Now Mila Hamley. Back to the pitcher. Play will be to third to get the lead runner. And out. Tag wasn't necessary, as the force was on there, but the out was recorded by the third baseman, Ariana Potter, and there are 2 outs in the inning.
2 nice plays here in this inning from Hannah Haxton in the circle, recognizing the runner in front of her. Sometimes when an inning is kind of rolling the way it is and a couple of runs are scoring as a pitcher, it's very easy to kind of lose your focus, but she realizes what the key out is going to be, gets it. The second out that she's provided in this inning.
So being the great journalist I am, I have to ask the question that all journalists ask. Is it hard to beat another team that you've lost to earlier in the week, or beat in the previous week twice?
Absolutely. And I think there's also, you know, you have the team that you're the team to beat coming out of the winner's bracket. There's a little bit something mental that's always going to be there. You have the underdog coming out of the loser's bracket with a little bit of maybe a chip on their shoulder, like, hey, they got us in that first match, but we're not going to be denied in our second. And of course, so much game left, but you can just tell the energy right now for Ohio coming out, throwing the first punch.
And Matt Hamley, the manager of Ohio, said we should have beaten Iowa back on Sunday. Ahead of this inning, 2-0 in the first. Headed to right field, picked up by the second baseman for the important toss to get the out. So off the glove of Riley Beals, but Ella Woodley recovers. 2-0 Ohio. We'll introduce the batting 12 for Iowa in a moment. A hot but splendid day today, as you see, with the clouds in the background for softball and the regional championship in Whitestown, Indiana. Let's take a look at Iowa's batting order. Addison Haddle is hitting .700. She will lead off. Olivia Hemisath second. Avery Toyne, the right-handed swinger, third. Rest of them are righties as well. Hannah Haxton in the cleanup spot. Cassidy Howard had a big 2-run hit against Ohio on Sunday. Then Ellie Woodley, Brecken Moss, Aubrey Jans, Lydia Clark, Raya Woodley, Riley Beals, and Ariana Potter. Well, we've seen a lot of this lady, Mila Hamley. She threw a ton of pitches the other day in the loss to Iowa, some 159.
She's been fun to watch. I think she's the hardest thrower in this regional, and she's had to pitch the most innings, that's for sure, because this team has had to kind of rely on this arm. She's been so steady, has swung a good bat as well offensively, but what she's been able to do in the circle, I've just loved her composure. She brings the heat, throws it high in the zone. Doesn't really need a changeup, doesn't have it, but she was dominant yesterday with 8 strikeouts.
And we mentioned the fact she smiled, and we said that because she is stone-faced out there, which is good. I mean, she's got a great temperament, doesn't show you much reaction at all, whether things are good or not so good.
That's inside.
Addison Handel ahead on the count 2-0. She is a catcher, so Addison's favorite as a catcher at Oklahoma State. That, I think, only goes to reason, I suppose, and that being Taylor Tuck, part of the Women's College World Series. Head into right field and dropping in. Base hit.
We talked about Addison Handel hitting 500 this week, and she's the youngest player on this Iowa team. You wouldn't know it by the way that she approaches her at bats, very aggressive, and of course, she's the catcher, the starting catcher as the youngest player on this team, so just so impressive. Love watching her play this whole week.
And she's followed now by Olivia Hemeseth, hitting in the number 2 position, slapping this one foul. Very active first inning compared to what we had on Sunday, where we had 7 innings of scoreless softball. Took a little more than an hour. When we went to extra innings, we finished a total of 2.5 hours. Every toy to follow. One of over 300 Little League softball and baseball games on ESPN platforms. That number is off the charts.
Softball all day today. Man, it's so good to see. Love that for our sport.
Double play ball, third to first. Well done. Catch by Annabelle Mikesell over to first and Tori Greathouse, and that's how you get 2.
This is all about the transition. Catch and throw, reaction. She's playing in tight. She gets the slap, quick throw over, and that was a big lead at first base by Addison Handel. And Annabelle Mikesell all over it. And how about the stretch at first base by Tori Greathouse? How many times have we seen her be just so huge defensively for this Ohio team? That was a pretty double play.
Fair to say she's the best defender in this tournament?
Absolutely.
Avery Torn in the number 3 position with the lucky hair tie at the plate. 13 years of age. Got an interesting hitting line so far. She's 1 for 5, but she scored 5 times and has walked 5 times. So she has an excellent eye at the plate and able to get around the bases pretty quickly.
Hey, it's all about that on-base percentage.
No, it's inside.
You can hear Sean Niddle with the call behind home plate. By the way, do you like an umpire that tells you where the ball is? You know, like ball inside, or as a pitcher, would you have preferred nothing?
You know, it's interesting question, because obviously that's been a thing the last couple of years, and you see it a lot in the major leagues and even in college, but it wasn't really a thing when we played, to be honest, so I'm always like jealous. Oh, the umpire could have given us information. We could have asked. Why didn't we ask? I would have loved to know. Yeah.
Count goes full 3-2. Well, her brother is in attendance. He suffers from autism, but he has got a great support cast, not only in Johnston Little League, but in parts of the country, and has gone along with many people to raise money for the healing of autism. Strike 3 called. Mila Hamley gets her first strikeout, likely the first of many. On to the second in the championship game, with the winner headed to the World Series. Do you want your child to experience the teamwork and fun of Little League baseball or softball? Visit playlittleague.org. Enter your address to find the Little League community program near you. Numbers are staggering. 25,000 people, coaches, potential coaches and managers, had to take a leadership program in order to qualify for their positions. Over 60,000 took the test. These two sports, Little League softball and baseball, have exploded.
And I think it's only going to continue to climb with the exposure that we're seeing this season. We just talked about how this whole slate today on Friday is slam-packed full of Little League softball, and that's going to get some eyes. It's going to get some attention.
No, ball down.
Chat with parents and family members. It's other than parents, exposure itself is fascinating to them, particularly if their little one has not been on television. Headed to right field and dropping. Zara Berg starts the second for Ohio with a hit. Fourth hit for Ohio in just an inning plus.
Left fielder, number 9, Amani Beardsley.
The right fielder Amani Beardsley comes up. Ohio set 7 to the plate in the first. Already batting with her second one here in the second. For good luck, she gives a special little kid a hug before the game. Isn't that sweet?
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, I do too. Slow roller, going to be a tough play. First base is covered though pretty quickly. And as a result, 1 out. So Riley Beals does the right thing. Zara Burt advances to second, brings up Grace Fonda.
A productive out there from Beardsley. Almost as good as a sac bunt.
Yep.
And in a championship, little things like that are going to matter. Every out, looking to be a productive out, trying to do something to help your team pass the bat.
Popped up. Hannah Haxton will handle 2 outs. First pitch swinging by Grace Fonda. And Bella Mattern, batting in the 11th hole for Ohio, now steps to the plate. You mentioned how aggressive Ohio has been for the first 10 and put the first pitch into play. Ordinarily, you would say they came off the bus swinging, but all of them were ride by van. And I know this because I love their decorations on the van.
Look, it's just a product of the elimination and how many games they've had to play. Talked about this earlier, but hitting is contagious. You get on a roll, and it feels comfortable. And you know it's a championship, so you're going to have those nerves. You're going to have those butterflies, but I feel like they're just so loose, and they're probably tired. Let's be clear. This is their 7th game, and sometimes in a weird way that can calm you down.
Really?
Absolutely. If you're well rested, sometimes you get a little tight.
1-1 pitch with 2 outs and a runner at second. Kind of a half swing, tough play for Haxton. Well, what was the call at first base? Because if it was an out, the inning's over, and it doesn't matter. Yep. Bella Mattern is retired. Everybody got pretty excited about that. And I think Mila Hamley may be challenging the play at first.
Okay.
Because off the play at first, which was an out, overthrow at third. Under review right now is a previous play in which Bella Mattern tried to reach first base. She was called out. The reaction from Ohio was play was going on. So this is being challenged by Ohio.
It's just whether or not Beals at first base has her foot on the base. Looks like the ball does beat Mattern.
Now, Zara Burt, who was running to third on the play,
I think she's out.
Came all the way around to score, but the general feeling is that the play was ruled dead at this point, so the runner cannot advance from third to home. She will be given to third if this is reversed.
Right, I don't think you can allow a runner to keep going if the play on the field is called out like it was, it's going to be close. Unless there's a different angle that they're looking at. I don't know if there's enough to overturn that from the angle that we were looking at.
You think Bella's feeling the pressure, though? She's doing the hokey pokey out there at first base, and I don't know if she can handle the intensity here.
Hey, you know what I mean? Anything to pass the time. Here's another look here. Mattern running down. Beals at first with the stretch. The ball beats her. It's just, where is Beals' right foot? Is it up in the air?
Well, last night in one of our championship games, replay took over the conclusion for about 20 minutes with the game hanging in the balance. And eventually, the home team got the call and the win.
I have not great eyesight, so probably
Her eyesight's pretty good.
Oh, I don't know. I'm up here with glasses, still squinting, but I don't know if there's enough to overturn this. I think the call stands.
Very good. Bella Mattern is out, and officially Ohio loses the challenge. Has one more challenge to play with at this point in order to keep alive. So the inning ends. Ohio gets a runner as far as second base. And now we go to the bottom of the second with a score 2-0 in favor of Austintown Little League. The Little League Softball Regional Championships continue tonight on ESPN after we're done here. Out to California for the West Regional title game, 5 o'clock. Northern California, Southern California. Then it's 7 and the Mid-Atlantic Championship and the nightcap at 9 o'clock. Billings, Montana and Bend, Oregon. For trips to Greenville, North Carolina. The championship, the World Series, which begins a week from Sunday. The winner of this game will play in the very first game of that World Series. And if it wins, it comes back Monday night in the winner's bracket. If it loses, it gets a day off. Comes back Tuesday. Tickets punched so far. Most countries outside the United States have already registered their representatives. Hewitt, Texas, defending champions, won yesterday. Winterville, North Carolina, and Milford, Connecticut have reps, as well as North Carolina has 2 representatives from its state this year. And that was a situation a few years back with the Central Regional here. To the Iowa second we go, 4, 5, and 6, and the birthday girl to lead off.
Nope.
Well, you ask her dad what kind of celebration is in store for her, and he says, well, depends on whether we win or lose. We win, it's big.
Spoken like a dad.
Mm-hmm. Going the opposite way and dropping in. Iowa's second hit of the game, Hannah Axton. He's got a huge bat in this tournament. She is now 5 for 10.
Well, this is the matchup that I'm going to be circling throughout this entire game today. Hamley against Haxton. The best pitcher in this regional versus the best hitter at the plate. And strokes this thing down the line right in front of Fisher in right field. You can just kind of hear the pop of the bat, a little bit different coming off of her bat.
Now Cassidy Howard, who had a 2-run hit in that win against Ohio the other day, going to the left, and it caught. Chance for a double play, and the long throw is going to get away. Nice catch out in left field by Amadi Beardsley, but on her throw back to first base. It's an overthrow, will go as an error and allow Hannah Haxton to advance.
This is a great hit here from Howard. Nice catch like you're talking about and left by Beardsley, but just unnecessary throw here. And we're talking about how sure-handed Tori Greathouse has been at first base, and she just misreads that. Throw is definitely offline, but very catchable ball for her at first.
Which is unusual. Ella Woodley batting in the 6th spot. Runner at second. Almost tagged her there. Ball 1. Temperatures mid to high 80s around game time. Headed to 90, maybe 92 before we conclude. Lightning and lots of rain and wind earlier today, but that was long gone by about noon.
Ball.
2 balls, no strikes. Brecken Moss, the right fielder, would bat next. Kelly hitting in the 6th spot.
Just up.
Early in the game, are you taking a 3-0 or are you swinging?
I think first time through the lineup, maybe take. You're looking at the best pitcher in the regional. And down 2, Iowa need a couple runs on base to put together a rally.
Taking all the way, 3-1. Although Eric Clark, who's coaching at third base and is the manager, wouldn't agree. First base coach is Gina Beals. Tyler Moss is in the dugout. By the way, the first base coach, Gina Beals, I think we'll show you some pictures of her going way back when she played in a Little League tournament. I told her we quoted the year 1987. She said, I think that's generous.
Oh, that's good stuff.
We'll see if we'll be able to tell when we see it later. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Mila Hamley has battled back from 3-0.
You can tell all of the foul balls against the right-handed hitters versus Mila Hamley going to the right side just because of the velocity that she brings. She's been clocked at 60 miles an hour. I think they said she's hit 61 in her young career. And every single hitter that we've seen against her has been late.
And after being down 3 balls, she gets a strikeout, and that's her 2nd.
She's so tough when she elevates just like this. A little bit. That's all she needed. Full count. Of course, you don't want to elevate too much, but you have a hitter in Woodley who's swinging the bat. She's in swing mode. You just go, okay, let's rear back and throw it. And you could just hear the pop of the mitt.
May have gotten a generous call on 3-0 for a strike, and then after 2nd strike and foul ball, gets the strikeout. 2 outs now in the 2nd inning for Iowa. Brecken Moss's sister, or rather cousin Aubrey's a gymnast at Southern Utah. Brecken batting in the 7th spot. Her great-grandmother, by the way, speaking of Brecken, the Iowa High School Player of the Year in 1948. That's 75 years ago. Ball and 2 strikes.
When you come back from a 3-0 count as a pitcher and you get the strikeout, that fuels you. There is nothing better. It just kind of tells you, okay, I'm in it here. Not going to surrender just because you go to the 3-0 count, and you can tell right away firing strikes.
Right now we have the shadows covering home plate. Is that a factor for the batter or not?
It will be here in a couple of minutes. I think not quite yet. By the time the ball is entering the hitting zone, maybe still a little bit of sun, but once that shadow creeps out more, it'll be definitely advantage pitcher.
Moss to center field and caught. Basket catch by Seneca Coates. Hit well, but inning over. After 2, a third of the way through, 2-0 in favor of Austintown Little League. Welcome back. Little League Softball Regionals on ESPN are presented by Dick's Sporting Goods. Every season starts at Dick's. Kenzie Fowler, All-American at the University of Arizona. Jim Barber with behind home plate seats, and good ones too. For a pitcher's duel anticipated, right now it's been one where there have been a lot of hits. Ohio 2-4-1. Line totals 0-2-2 for Iowa. And Gianna Hoops starts the top of the 3rd for Austintown. Ohio, a record of 5-1. Winners of 5 straight. Little blooper. Heading to center field. Great hustle. But the ball finds itself to the grass. It's a base hit all the way. Now, with the ball loose on the second base is Gianna Hoops. Probably the kind of mistakes you don't expect in a championship game, do you?
And we've seen a couple of those in the last couple of innings from the Iowa defense. The 5th hit here for Ohio. Laying out in center field. Ryan Woodley just can't come up with it. And taking advantage. Every 60 feet matters. You get the dab, you get the smiles, but against Iowa, every single extra step that you can take is going to be a separator in a championship.
Iowa now has 3 errors in the game. And we go back to the point that you made earlier, which is significant. How does the layoff affect what we're seeing today?
I'm telling you, in sports especially, you see it in postseason, right? A team gets hot and you just keep rolling, and sometimes when you sit around, it's not what you want to do. It's very hard to go out and replicate that same type of game energy, and you're probably going to go out and practice a little bit, stretch it out, keep your body loose, but how can you get yourself back in that game mode and get amped up?
Lexi Petrilla with an 0-2 count. Lays off the rise ball from Haxton, 1-2.
1 ball, 2 strikes.
Hannah Haxton got into trouble in the first with a couple of hits and an error. Now runner at second base with nobody out in the third. Pitcher's best friend, there was a punch out, 1 out.
First strikeout of the game for Hannah Haxton. Righty on lefty here. All of her pitches kind of naturally tail as a curveball. To me, that kind of looked like a backdoor curve. It's just a fastball. It's just how her mechanics throw. But when she's throwing to right-handed hitters, she really likes to pound the outside part of the plate. And then when she's facing left-handed hitters, she likes to pound the outside part of the plate. So using arm side against the lefties.
Seneca Coates lays one down. Safe! Runners now at first and third. In the meantime, Coates down to second. Taking full advantage of the play at third base.
This is so pretty. Just dropping it down. Doesn't even separate her hands, just soft with the barrel. Addison Haddle trying to do her best coming out from behind the plate. A good throw, but too much speed down the line from Seneca Coates. I love watching her in that leadoff spot.
Who has 2 more hits today and has become the top hitter in this regional tournament. Eric Clark is going to challenge right now the play at first base. Ohio has implemented a challenge, unsuccessful. So they've got 1 in the bank. You get 2 unless you use the 2 up, and they are not good to go, and therefore you're out unless we get to extra innings. So no problem with Gianna Hoops at third. Here's where the difficulty is, or the question is Seneca Coates out or safe? Call on the field is safe by first base umpire Michael Miller.
Yeah, that's the right call.
Yeah, really no question, is there?
Nope.
And first base umpire Michael Miller and home plate umpire Sean Niddle are in the dugout reviewing, and the new policy for the league is home plate umpire goes on replay and the base umpire in question goes as well.
Hey, keep the tunes coming.
Don't they know this is the biggest game of the year for them?
You know, when the DJ is spinning and the Macarena is going, you just got to let the rhythm take you.
And we have a little communication there between. Another look, but it would seem fairly obvious.
Well, it's also worth noting where Ella Woodley at second base, where her foot was. It was back behind the base, at the back part. If she's at the front part of the base, that's going to be a closer play. But because of where she's positioned, it allows the ball to travel just a little bit more and allows Seneca Coates to do what she does best, and that's get down the line.
Didn't take too long for the review. Iowa loses the challenge, so now Iowa and Ohio have lost their challenges to this point. That's Mila Hamley, the manager and coach at third base for Austintown Little League. He's had a good week of managing with his wife Darren in the dugout. Everybody's getting along very well, as if that would be a problem. And it's a family affair with Mila pitching for Austintown. Line drive, caught third base. No chance for a double play, but that's a huge out, though, as Ariana Potter handles. And now we have 2 outs in the third.
Third baseman, 17, Annabelle Mixell.
Ohio continues to be aggressive on first pitch. Ariana Potter at third, quick reaction. It's a good job by Hoops over there at third base. Not too big a lead, especially with less than 2 outs. You never want to have too much aggression when you're leading off at third. You want to keep it very conservative. You don't want to have that double play be out at third base. That's a big out here for the Iowa defense.
Back to the pitcher. Hannah Haxton able to get out of a huge jam with runners at second and third. This might be important. Through 3 innings, Ohio's left 5. And despite 6 hits, has but a 2-0 lead.
Play some softball. All the emotions, all the fun in Greenville, North Carolina, the Little League Softball World Series. They will remember this forever.
Defending champions from Texas, still very much alive. Coming back for perhaps a repeat. State of Texas owns this tournament, having won 14 times. Florida has 8, California 5, and several others with 2. Matt Schick, Jenny Dalton Hill, Courtney Lyle, Amanda Scarsborough, Michelle Smith, Chris Button. All hands on deck for ESPN's coverage of the Softball Little League World Series, which begins a week from Sunday. And it's important to the Central Region winner because they will be part of the opening act. Aubrey Jans to lead off, followed by Lydia Clark and Raya Woolley. Feels like Ohio's lead should be much larger than just 2-0. No fault of Austintown, but some fortunate breaks on back-to-back line drives in the top of the third. Oh, 2 balls and a strike. Mila Hamley, who went the distance on Sunday, pitched all 9 innings, 159 pitches. Asked Matt Hamley afterwards, was there any question as to whether he was going to lift her during the game? He said no. He said, you know, we come with her, we're going to finish with her. You know, they have other pitchers like Mike Sell to relieve, but it was her game.
You bet. She's been the ace. She's been the go-to. She wants the ball. We talked to her before the game. We're chatting to the coaches, and I just kind of looked over to her and said, hey, you got some more in you? And she gave us a small smile, and she's like, yeah, I'm good. I'm good.
Matt with some defensive instructions right now as the count has reached full. And it's a comebacker. Mila handles those as good as anybody. 1 out.
Her velocity is still good here in the third. That's always going to be a question when you get tired as a pitcher. Your velocity is going to be the first thing to go. You want to make sure you still continue to have your location. You got to pinpoint your corners. But she's still bringing the heat, and you can tell because the hitters for Iowa are late. Pounding the inside corner, a lot of jam shots from those right-handed hitters. Only 2 base hits on the day. Both have been to the right side.
And now facing Lydia Clark. 1 ball, no strikes. That's her 37th pitch, which is a long ways from nearly 160 that were thrown on Sunday. 20 of those have been 4 strikes.
One.
One's on the board. 1 ball, 1 strike, 1 out. Little League softball from dawn and beyond dusk today. 6 games in a row on ESPN. First time ever on the regional championships.
Two balls, 2 strikes.
That's umpire Sean Nittleman on home plate, catching us up to date on balls and strikes.
It's a good take there from Clark. Got 2 strikes, just barely out of the zone.
It's hard to lay off, isn't it? Look at the wrist. A look at the catcher. Ready to go on 3-2. Popped up. There's not much space between backstop and home plate here. So making a catch like that, not easy. Plenty of space, though, if the ball bounces.
It is tight.
To the right of home plate on a pass ball or to the left.
Yeah, like you're talking about, straight back, not a lot of room. Good job there from Baumgart. She had a read on it, but just like you're talking about, not enough space to track it down.
This is Mila Hamley's third full count of the 9 hitters. Base hit up the middle. Third hit of the game for Iowa. Tying run comes to the plate with 1 out in the third.
And that's the best at-bat that we've seen thus far in this game for Iowa. They've got to utilize this at-bat and use it as a spark. That's a gritty at-bat, full count, driving this ball right up the middle. And to be honest, I feel like that's the best hit that we've seen off of Mila Hamley in quite a while.
Really?
A couple of games, yeah. She squared that up well.
Ryan Woodley in the 10th spot, the center fielder, had a good game against Hamley the other day at the plate. 2 for 3. Waves at that one, strike 1. Iowa coming in, batting .323 in just 3 games of tournament play. You like SpaghettiOs, by the way?
I forgot about SpaghettiOs. Wow, they are good.
Long foul there, 0-2.
Not in my diet anymore, but I think about it. When you're little growing up, sure, you bet. You can get creative. It's simple.
Good for mom to fix, too, right? Easy. Riley Beals will bat next, and then Ariana Potter as we turn the lineup over. Good waist pitch by Hamley, 1-2. Mila Hamley,
1-2.
12 years of age. Idol's Montana Fox. And apparently it hit her. The Little League Community Heroes Recognition Program helps to honor those dedicated individuals who not only volunteer their time at local Little League programs, also contribute in other ways to improve their communities. To learn more or to nominate a community hero, visit littleleague.org/communityheroes. Now Iowa's got a threat going as Matt Hamley and his conversation with Sean Niddle is over. Eric Clark with some instructions to Riley Beals.
You can see it clearly hits her, and you were watching Coach Hamley. I think he was having to make a lifetime decision of whether he was going to challenge this or not. And you only have one more challenge to go, only here in the third. A lot of ball left in this game. Chooses not to use the challenge. I think that was a smart move.
Yeah, probably the right move considering that we have a tight game right now, 2-0, and Iowa has base runners that could mount to scoring. Right now it's Lydia Clark at second. Ryan Woodley hit by a pitch at first, and Riley Beals to the plate. Ohio with a 5-game win streak coming in, facing an Iowa team that hasn't lost. Good championship matchup today in Whitestown, Indiana. And Rye Dog stays alive. So what were some of your nicknames?
That's a great question. Growing up, they called me Big Red. I was usually the tallest on the team. I have red hair. Bring It On was a big movie at the time, so Big Red.
Did you like Big Red?
I didn't mind it. There's definitely worse names out there, so you take it. Your team just kind of make sure they choose it for you. You don't really have a choice when it comes to team sports. You're kind of going to be given your nickname. It's a big strikeout here from Mila Hamley. A little bit up in the zone, and you could just tell Beals behind it. She's late on this with 2 strikes. It's credit to that velocity that Mila continues to bring.
Mila has a strikeout in each of the 3 innings. Runners remain at first and second. And a wave and a miss there by Ariana Potter. batting in the 12th spot for Iowa. With the continuous batting order, and both managers really enjoy the change in the offensive lineups for Little League softball. Everybody who is rostered and at the ballpark will hit in order throughout the game. You're not required to play anybody defensively, but if you decide to change runners in an inning, it can come with 2 outs, courtesy runner for either the catcher or the pitcher. 1-1 pitch with 2 aboard. Inside corner, 1-2. What kind of location do you like here from Mila Hamley?
I'm going upstairs. It's what she's been able to do with 2 strikes, expanding the zone. I'm going high heat.
Instead, she gets a call third. 2 in the inning. That's Darren Hamley. She's pretty pumped.
Yeah, Mom is fired up. 4th strikeout here for Mila Hamley.
For this regional championship game, a lot of watch parties going on across the Midwest. Let's take you to some of them. Like Barry Dingles in Austintown, Ohio. Hello, folks. Team Ohio well represented there, and ditto for that at Sam's Wedge Inn. Not the only places to watch this championship game. How about Jethro's BBQ, Johnston, Iowa, near Des Moines. Hello, folks. And there are several other places as well. Got a pretty competitive game going on again between these 2 teams, separated by 2 runs as we're halfway through and we approach the 4th inning.
Look, when the local teams get to the championship, you get to play on ESPN and the community is going to come out and support. That is just so big for the sport of softball, wherever those communities are across the country. It's going to be a ripple effect for the next couple of years, because you have the ones that are, you know, a little bit younger, kind of getting their attention. Like, oh, who's this team? The Little League team. They're making their way. They're in the finals. They're in the regionals. All of a sudden, they're in the Little League World Series. And you get some youngsters in that community saying, I want to play softball too. That looks fun. And that's what it's all about.
Good point. Hannah Haxton now 35 pitches, 26 for strikes. Most of the hitters facing her put the ball into play. In this case, Bella Baumgart has a 1-1 count. Reached down a fielder's choice in the first. Toward left field. In play, not a problem. Handled easily by Lydia Clark, 1 out.
It's a big out for Hannah Haxton. I feel like Bella Baumgart has been swinging maybe the best bat outside of Seneca Coates, who's that lefty slapper speedster. But in terms of a power hitter, I feel like Bella Baumgart has been that presence for Ohio. So that's a big out to start this inning.
At least 4 balls have gone to left field so far in this game. Couple of hits, couple of flyouts. Now Tori Greathouse.
Oh.
She went opposite field last time up. RBI single to left field. To second base. Not a problem for Ella Woodley. 2 outs in the Ohio 4th. Ohio has yet to go in order. Mila Hamley will try to keep that going. She steps to the plate. Reached on a fielder's choice back in the first. The only 2 runs of the game so far came in the first.
A 3 up, 3 down inning here would be huge for Iowa. It feels like a very, pointed part of this game. They've had opportunities offensively where they've had runners on base just unable to capitalize and get that big inning like we saw Ohio have in the top of the first. But defense momentum can always lead to offensive momentum.
Iowa's offense hasn't been poor in this game. They do have 3 hits, but have left 4 on base. And we'll begin with the top of the batting order in the bottom of the 4th.
It's been in big part to who's at the plate, and Mila Hamley. Every time that Ohio's been able to get a runner in scoring position, she shuts the door down, gets a jammed ground ball or a big strikeout.
headed to second base here and into center field. So Ohio again goes without being retired in order. That'll be a base hit by Mila Hamley, the 7th for Austintown Little League.
I like the swings that I've been seeing from Ohio. They're just very short, and they're working the dirt, working the line drives, not trying to do too much with lifting the ball. It's a nice hit up the middle.
Be a courtesy runner right now, and that'll be Tori Greathouse. Running for pitcher Mila Hamley. That allows the pitcher to get a little rest. They'll do the same for the catcher, by the way, if the catcher reaches base with 2 outs.
Hey.
Here's Ava Fisher. Popped up on the infield. It's going to be a tough play. Everybody's safe. Runner heading to third, and she's safe. Runner now going down to second, and she is safe. How about that? Safe everywhere.
Time.
I would try to get outs at first, second, and third, and just came up a second or two short.
This was chaotic. There's a lot going on here.
Let's begin with the fact that this is an infield hit.
This is a nice pitch from Hannah Haxton, and she gets a pop-up, but Iowa defensively just unable to run it down, and then an errant throw. You have Greathouse going from first to third, and then, of course, Ava Fisher slides into second base. So the ball doesn't even go past almost the pitcher's circle, and now Ohio has 2 runners in scoring position very quickly.
There was an elbow scrape on the play. That's Tori Greathouse is going to get a little help here. This Sunday, our next ESPN WNBA game, East versus West. Brianna Stewart averaging 23 a game for New York Liberty at 18-5 against NECA. Ugo Mickey, who's averaging a double-double, and the Sparks of L.A. at 4 Eastern. Coverage tips with WNBA Countdown, 3:30 Eastern. As play resumes, second and third for Ohio with 2 outs in the inning. Tori Greathouse, the courtesy runner at third, replacing Mila Hamley, and at second is Ava Fisher. Haven't seen a play in this tournament in which all 3 bases were contested, but there were no outs recorded. Holy softball is it's entertaining, man.
Foot in the box, okay?
I will credit Ohio. Their base running is aggressive.
Oh, yes.
So you give them an inch, and they're going to take 2 bases on you very quickly.
Let's see if it leads to a couple runs here with the runners in scoring position. Ohio has left 5 on base. Zara Burt, who already has a hit in this game to right field, is at the plate. All this activity started with 2 outs. 2-0 in favor of Ohio in the championship game of the Central Region. And into right field is going to score 1. Going to score 2. Runner down to second is trapped. The idea is runner back to the base, and they do, and she's out. But Zara Burke gets a 2-run hit. Tori Greathouse scores. Ava Fisher scores. Ohio now leads 4-0. Very entertaining top of the 4th. Let's see now if Iowa can counter. The Little League Softball Regionals on ESPN, presented by Dick's Sporting Goods. Well, if you're hanging out in a town for a week, that means there's a lot of laundry to be attended to. So Addison Hattle leads off the inning, gets a little help from Father Carson, who's the laundry boy.
This is outstanding. Outstanding work.
Yes. Well, we have a Bat Girl who's one of the male coaches, so why not, huh?
Laundry boy. And, hey, someone's got to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Not a rewarding job, but, hey, if your team continues to win, I'm going to say, yeah, doing laundry is a good thing. It means you're winning.
And manager Eric Clark, who is the third base coach, very emotional. We talked to him earlier this week about the girls and daughters and the fact he's coaching them. And I think there are a good many dads that, what can I do to help out when my team is advancing? And it's real special, Little League softball. Addison Handel trying to get a rally going for Iowa, down 4-0. He's had a great bat so far in the tournament, 8 for 11, batting .727. But Mila Hamley on 4 pitches retires her. 55 pitches now in the game for Hamley. 33 are strikes at 60%. And through the lineup for the first time, 5 of the first 12 were first pitch strikes.
And after watching Mila Hamley this week, just my observation is that you have got to beat her early in the first 3 innings, because once she settles in and she gets that power pitch going, you see the ball have that late movement just naturally. She's not throwing a rise ball. It's just a fastball that's running because she has good velocity, long levers. But when she gets rolling like she does later in the game, she's almost unhittable. And it's what we saw yesterday when she got on a roll in the last couple of innings.
Also been used as a closer in this tournament when Mike Sells started, and then she came in to close the door in the bottom of the 6th inning. Olivia Hemisath, the shortstop, hit into a double play, third to first, back in the first. Slaps it 1 down the first base line. And the tag being applied at the last minute, which is the right play by Tori Greathouse, 2 outs.
For Iowa, 59, Avery Toyne.
Well, Avery Toyne is stepping to the plate. And her brother's a pretty famous kid around here. Cohen, who has autism, has been a big part of raising funds for the Autism Society in the Iowa area. And they have adapted his Godzilla interest. Mila Hamley, though, with a very, very comfortable 4th inning. Nobody hits the ball out of the infield. And after 4, Ohio's 2/3 of the way to the World Series. More softball regional championships today and tonight on ESPN. Right after us, Ports Hill, California versus San Jose. Mid-Atlantic, 7 o'clock. States of New York and Pennsylvania doing battle, and then the Northwest. Montana and Oregon at 9 Eastern, 8 Central, and 5. Make that 6 o'clock on the West Coast. Nancy Fowler, Jim Barber back with you for the 5th inning of a 6-inning game. And right now, Ohio very much in charge. Monty Beardsley will lead off, 0 for 1 in this game. If Ohio hangs on and wins, it'll make 6 consecutive victories with a team that was on the ropes after the first loss on Sunday.
We really can't talk enough about the run that they've made through the losers bracket. This is the hardest path that you can take in this regional, and they've done it. 5 games in elimination where they've won. Their only loss coming to this team, like you were talking about in that opening round against Iowa, and have just put their head down and continue to win and fight and claw their way back out of the losers bracket. Look at this gauntlet that they've been able to run, and you look at those couple of scores, 4-2, 4-3.
2-1.
The big 10-1 victory against Missouri, where they were able to rest Mila Hamley a little bit in the circle, but that's just tough.
And you saw father and daughter moments ago with Mila with a drink of water. And the skipper, Matt Hamley, the third base coach. And when you address the graphic, the 8 runs allowed against Iowa, Ohio has given up just 8 since then.
Ball.
3 balls, 2 strikes. Miss Beardsley, Grace Fonda, Bella Mattern
3 balls, 2 strikes.
Bottom of the Ohio order in the 5th.
Ball.
Beardsley reaches base to start the 5th. And that is the 4th time, Kenzie, in 5 innings that the leadoff hitter has gotten on base.
Yeah, kind of unique the last inning that we saw Ohio offensively. Iowa was able to record 2 quick outs and then 2 base hits, another RBI single from Zara Bird, and all of a sudden 2 runs scored just like that. So just kind of unique. They have had runners on very early in every inning, like you're talking about, getting on base.
Well, Grace likes her Starbucks drink prior to a game.
Same.
And you don't even have that superstition.
Oh yeah, I had to get a coffee too.
Back to Haxton. That's going to be a tough play there as a runner beat the throw. So on a fielder's choice now. Ohio has runners at first and second and nobody out.
Oh, this is a tough play for Hannah Haxton in the circle. Her body was definitely taking her to this play to second base because of the way the ball was, but just too much speed down the line from Beardsley. Just a little bit too much time, and you could see where Ella Woodley at second base was receiving that throw. She was behind the base. You want to make sure you cut that off, make the throw as short as possible, be in front of the bag. Another opportunity here for Ohio.
Bunt back to Haxton, off the circle to first base. Effective sacrifice. Puts runners at second and third now with 1 out. For Gianna Hoops hitting the number 12 spot. Most teams have 12 on their roster. Ohio is different. It has 13. And all 13 have been pretty productive.
And when you bat the whole lineup, it is all about what you can get production-wise out of the bottom. And to me, that's going to be probably the separator when we're watching the Little League World Series, and it's coming down to every single at-bat, but who has the strength at the bottom and just overall team talent.
Speaking of which, Iowa in its win over Ohio on Sunday, the bottom of the order was 5 for 10. Scored 4 runs, knocked in a couple. I think some managers had a fear when they got away from a chance to substitute freely in games that the bottom of the order, having to play extra players, would be a detriment. In most cases, it has not. Figure you're putting together a roster of 12 players. All-stars. Well, they have to be pretty good.
That's right.
Hannah Haxton can use a strikeout here. With 1 out, runners at second and at third. And already her team in a 4-run hole.
Ball.
These teams have played in their local little leagues, selected as all-stars to play in district and on the state and here. It has been a lengthy spring and summer. It's certainly an enjoyable one for both of these teams. On the infield, ball caught, double play. Oh man, is that huge? Allie Woodley with a catch and the double up.
Right place, right time here for Ella Woodley. A little bit aggressive.
Big news today, Yankees outfielder Aaron Judge is back, returning from an injury that cost him more than a month. That means Sunday Night Baseball is a huge matchup. The Yankees and the Orioles. The Yanks fighting for a wild card, and the Orioles a surprise leader in the Eastern Division. 7 Eastern on ESPN, ESPN Deportes, and ESPN Radio. Our coverage at 6 Eastern with baseball tonight and Sunday Night Countdown. And don't count the Yankees out yet. Ditto for Iowa. And a Haxton base hit to start the 5th. This is the 3rd inning in which Iowa has put the leadoff hitter aboard.
This is the first really hard-hit ball that we've seen on the left side against Mila Hamley. And, of course, who else? It's going to be Hannah Haxton. This is their best hitter. First pitch, aggressive. Led off with a single in her last at-bat. So same situation here. Iowa was not able to get her home and capitalize on that leadoff base hit. They need to do it right now.
You saw the numbers in our corner graphic, 6 of 11, and 6 runs batted in. Iowa is in need of base runners here. And that's been a tough call against Mila Hamley. Cassidy Howard solved Hamley the other day with a 2-run single in extra innings. Need a couple of more to have a chance. Off speed, and the count goes to 0-2.
That was a little off speed. It's the first we've seen.
Rare.
Yeah, hasn't really needed it. Trying to work something slow in, especially against the middle of the lineup here against Iowa, second time through. Remember, these two teams played in the opening round of this tournament, so there's a lot of familiarity here.
Popped up in the infield and dropping. Force it second in time. Not an easy play, but Kate Averill got to it. To Zara Burt. And the first out here in the 5th one is a big one for Ohio.
Kate Averill at short. Doesn't come up with the catch, but this is hard to track down the spin. She does a good job going to her knees to solidify that out. You can see Hannah Haxton just a little bit too late of a slide, unhappy with herself. And a key lead out there for the Ohio defense.
Yeah, indeed. Mila Hamley, 64 pitches, 2/3 of them been for strikes. So the piano playing Allie Woodley at the plate. All these girls have terrific musical talent. Some playing as many as 7 different instruments.
Ball.
I settled for trumpet back in the day, and wouldn't say I was an expert at it, but it was fun.
I did a little recorder in 3rd grade, but that's pretty much as far as it went for me musically.
2 balls, no strikes. That one up in the air and on the infield. Mishandled, but a force out in play. Might have been a battle with the sun for second baseman Zara Burt. Recovers nicely and able to throw over to second for the force. And that's all that matters. Fielder's choice, 2 outs. Here's Brecken Moss. Well, the inning began well enough for Iowa, but now back-to-back fielder choices. And Ohio has Iowa pinned up back to 4 outs remaining in the season. The winner gets Rowan Little League in the opening act on August 6th, Sunday morning on ESPN in the Little League Softball World Series in Greenville, North Carolina. Over 150 million people watched Little League baseball and softball last year. A staggering number. Only to get better. Ball and 2 strikes. So Mila Hamley in the 1st compared to her in the 5th. What's your observation?
I just love her composure. Anytime that there's been a threat, and we've talked about her poker face all week, but I think it's so key as a pitcher, especially in this big game for this youngster. Continues to get better as the game goes on. That's her 6th, and she's had a strikeout in every single inning, so that tells you that she's feeling good at the biggest. This is the 7th game of the regional tournament for Ohio, and they came out and threw the first punch early. Got a couple of balls to bounce their way and took advantage with the aggressive base running. They were swinging early in the count, and you can really tell that this team has that loose factor. They have had their backs against the wall the entire week, losing in the opening round to Iowa. And ever since then, they've had themselves a good time at the plate. Offensively have been dialed in. 1 through 13, they bat them all, and everyone's scoring. And they've had more opportunities than the score shows. You look at the 8 hits on the board for 4 runs. And then, of course, you're looking at the star. That's Mila Hamley. She's been shutting it down. And this is a team that does not give up a lot of runs, so they really don't need a lot of runs.
7 different Ohio players have hits. As you saw moments ago, Lexi Petrilla starts off the Ohio 6th. the final inning unless Iowa comes up with a huge rally. Looking ahead to the Iowa 6th, Aubrey Jans, Lydia Clark, Raya Woolley, and they're going to need a few more to have a chance. Woodley would bat third in the inning.
Ball.
Looking at Lexi Petrilla, her toes are chalk on the line. Like, she is way up in there, and Hannah Haxton trying to challenge her inside, almost as a pitcher. Kind of back off my plate a little bit. You see her toes, elbows over the heart of the plate there.
You have to back a few people off when you pitched it.
Oh, yeah.
UA.
Hey, absolutely. As a pitcher, I loved it. I loved when I saw a hitter get up on the plate. You just trust your location, and it's kind of that challenge up moment as a pitcher. Like, hey, I'm gonna take this hit away from this hitter right now who is over my plate. Let me be very clear as a pitcher. That's my plate.
Well, you had 4 career no-hitters, so it must have worked nicely, huh?
Pitch and go!
3 balls, 2 strikes. Hannah Haxton now 63 pitches in the game, 41 for strikes. Her team down 4-0. Ever get any batters to glare back at you when you backed them off?
A couple times, yeah. You're going to have those kind of heat of the moment.
It wasn't personal, though, right?
No, it's never personal. Just trying to do my job, get the out. Of course, you want to strike out. Let's be clear. We want to strike out. But when you see that foul ball there, when you have a hitter that's toes up on the line and you're throwing her hard inside, there's really no place for the ball to go. If she squares it up, it's going to go foul down the line just because of where she's at. So as a pitcher, you love that. You just got to hit your spots. That's the key.
2 in the first for Ohio, 2 in the fourth. That's a called third strike. They'll start the Ohio 6th. And back to the top of the order. And Seneca Coates, who has 10 hits in 15 at-bats in this regional.
Haxton wins the battle. It feels so good. Second strikeout of the day for her.
Sean Niddle with a call behind home plate. All umpires volunteering their time, talent, and treasure to Little League softball. And many of these umpires you'll see down the line in bigger stages. That one to center field. Not a problem for Raya Woodley. Had to step a couple paces to her left. There are 2 outs now in the 6th, and Seneca Coates retired for the first time in this game.
I didn't know she could get out. Just been on base this entire week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's had a terrific tournament. And if her team hangs on, she's going to be a force in Greenville, North Carolina. A bit of an advantage for all the teams that may face the Central Region champion, because Rowan, which has already won, had won several days ago, so you can do some scouting.
Oh, yeah.
And some of the overseas teams as well. No secrets anymore when it comes to looking at other teams and activity. Second base analyst to the bottom of the 6th. Last chance, last dance for Iowa. The Little League Softball Regionals on ESPN are presented by Dick's Sporting Goods. Every season starts at Dick's. And you gotta believe, if you're a Johnston Little League fan, last opportunity, 4 to tie, and 5 for an incredible rally to win. And must do it against Mila Hamley. Now, they reached her in the 9th inning of the first matchup back on Sunday, but that's been the only time they've been able to tag her. And the winner faces Rowan Little League a week from Sunday, 10 a.m. Eastern on ESPN Plus.
Ball.
Mila Hamley has not walked anybody to this point. Aubrey Jans' favorite player, the great Jordy Ball. Right center field, dropping. Caught! What a play by Seneca Coates.
She made that look easy. It's just a matter of whether she was going to have to dive for this, but we'll take a snow cone catch out in center field, covering some ground. Seneca Coates, we've seen her on the base paths. How about some defense? One heck of a catch there by the center fielder.
Terrific play, keeps the leadoff hitter off the base, and now Iowa's down to its last 2 outs. Lydia Clark at the plate has a base hit back in the 3rd.
Ball.
Foul ball. Ball and 2 strikes. Mila Hamley has had a strikeout in every inning. 2 in the 3rd inning, when Iowa put 2 aboard, which was the most significant threat of the game.
1-2.
Ohio aiming for its 6th consecutive win since a loss on Sunday to Iowa.
Ball.
Well, if this holds up, Ohio will be an inspiration to all teams that lose early in a double elimination tournament.
You look at Mila Hamley's face, and that's the same face that we've seen from game 1 to game 7. The ace has carried the load for Ohio.
And she's 1 out away for the Central Region Championship and a trip to Carolina.
7th strikeout on the day. This one she takes a little bit of speed off, trying to throw a little bit of an off-speed change there, out in front. Lydia Clark striking out. And the streak continues, a strikeout an inning. It's a pretty good average there for Mila in the circle.
Spaced out nicely. Popped up. Could be the ball game. Not yet. Iowa stays alive. 1 strike. Two strikes. Well, if you're an Austintown Little League fan here, this is a big moment. Ryan Woodley with a deep breath and a look above.
As a pitcher, the last out's the hardest one.
I'll bet.
And you can feel it too. You look at the scoreboard. You know as a pitcher that you've been in control. Trying not to let the moment get ahead of you too much, but whether she's shown it or not, I can tell you right now, she knows she can taste it. 1 more strike.
Ryan Woodley saying not so fast.
Exactly, that determination, right? You don't want to be the last out. I want to continue this rally. 2 strikes, 2 outs, doesn't matter. Season on the line.
Riley Beals hoping to get a chance to hit next, along with several others after that. Again, the 0-2 pitch.
Go ahead.
Game over. Next stop for Ohio, the World Series.
What a performance from Ohio. It took 7 games, but they're going to the Little League World Series. What a performance. And Mila Hamley, there's the smile. We know that she knows how to do it. She's had that poker face all week long. 8 strikeouts, only 4 hits, just masterful in the circle for Ohio. This entire week, she has pitched her heart out, and it's so fitting that this moment ends with a strikeout for her in the circle.
Yeah, we haven't seen much reaction till now, but huge smile. For Iowa, great disappointment, but what a run, huh?
Oh, there's so much to be proud of for Ohio in the season, or for Iowa, excuse me, the season that they've had all season long. It's always tough when you get to this championship. Someone's got to go home, and unfortunately just did not have the hits against Mila Hamley today.
So add Ohio to the tickets punched list, joining the rest of the teams from the Philippines, Italy, Puerto Rico, the host at Salisbury, Rowan Little League, here in Texas, defending champion Winterville, North Carolina, and Milford. The activity starting on ESPN Plus a week from Sunday. Our final score, Ohio 4 and Iowa nothing. As the banner is being presented to the champions, and everybody gets a spot for a picture here, which will live forever.
I just think it's worth mentioning just one more time the run that this team had. They lost their first game in the opening round of this tournament, fought their way back 5 games facing elimination, had to go the distance. It took 7 games, and they are the team that is holding the banner at the end. That is so impressive. It's hard to do through the losers bracket, and they did it.
Certainly one of the best runs ever by any Little League team in softball or baseball.
One last round of applause in celebration of a well-played tournament.
4-0 is our final. Ohio with 2 in the first, 2 in the fourth. Don't miss the rest of the regional championships all day on ESPN. For now, let us send it back to the studio with Victoria Arlen and Michelle Smith. Congratulations to Ohio, your Central Region champions. They win it over Johnston, Iowa by a score of 4-0. So long from Whitestown, Indiana.